Hey guys, welcome back. So I've got a review video for you and it's on an eyeshadow palette. I know, shocker, I'm an addict. And I probably have more, yeah I do, I know I have more review videos coming up on eyeshadow palettes. They're like my thing. So this is on the Too Faced one for spring. This is called the A La Mode Eyes Sexy Saint Tropez Eyeshadow Collection. And they had this and then also a bronzer palette. Oh, I'm gonna go over the packaging in a minute, but just look at it. It's adorable. And the bronzer palette was even cuter. Like this has the pink and then a little bit of orange at the top. That had more pink and it was so cute. But I already own two of those bronzers in other palettes that I have. And actually I have the Chocolate Soleil in a full size, so I could not justify that purchase at all. But if you don't have those bronzers and you've been looking at them, you should definitely check out that palette because it's so cute and the bronzers are really good. So anyway, this is what I picked up. I got the palette. I've been wearing it, so I'll be able to tell you about wear time. I'll go over all my usual things: pricing, packaging, swatches. Like I said, wear time, application. I'm wearing it today so you can kind of see what it looks like on my eyes. This is one of the looks that you could do with it. But anyway, I'll go over all the things I normally do in my palette review videos. So if you want to learn more about the A La Mode Eyes palette from Too Faced, just keep watching. Okay, starting with pricing and packaging. The price of this palette is $36, and let me tell you what you get. You get 3 eyeshadows that are 2 grams each for a total of 6 grams, and then you get 6 eyeshadows that are 0.9 grams each for a total of 5.4 grams. So that's the amount that you get in the palette. As far as the packaging, it's ridiculously cute. This is the outside box. Just so like kind of French themed and travel and just so cute. Looks kind of sailory to me also. I love the packaging on it. So cute. And this is a tin container or like a thick sort of plasticky. It feels like tin to me. And it's got the information about the palette on the back. Doesn't show you the colors or anything, but it's still got the cute little writing for the palette. And then the front is slightly raised. Just so cute. And then this is what the inside looks like. So there's a mirror behind here and you get a little booklet with different looks. I really don't use that, but you've got the option if you need those. And then this is what the actual palette looks like. So you've got your 3 larger and then you've got your 6 smaller right there. So it's kind of a more warm toned palette for sure, since it's kind of got those coppery colors and those kind of yellowy toned creamy shades. So that's kind of what the palette looks like. And now we're gonna get into some swatches. Okay, so here are the swatches, and I'm gonna tell you right now, these are beautiful, I believe, French names, and I'm gonna butcher them. I know I am, but I'm gonna try. So, not try to butcher them, but I'm gonna try to say them. So here we go. This first one here, this is the top left part of the palette. This one is called Saint Tropez. It's a very light, not very pigmented, kind of a creamy shade. It's sort of looks like a satin to me. This one barely shows up at all. I'm not a fan of this shade. I don't know what's wrong with it, but just doesn't have good pigmentation. This next one is Cannes, C-A-N-N-E-S. It's a very nice, really pretty coppery shade. I'm wearing it on my lower lash line. It's beautiful, but it's kind of high maintenance. It kicks up a lot of product. It has a lot of fallout. It's just kind of difficult to work with, but it's gorgeous. It's very pigmented and looks really pretty on the eyes. This next one here, this is called Soleil. It's a kind of burgundy shade. It's beautiful. I have it on my lid and it's a really pretty shade. I like that one a lot. It's kind of got a nice sheen to it. It's beautiful. This one right here, this is Riviera. This one is a creamy shade, but it has more yellow tones to it. Slightly more pigmented than Saint Tropez, but still not super pigmented. And this one has more of a sheen to it. But it's a pretty shade, you just have to build it up, but it's not as bad as Saint Tropez. The next one in the middle there, that is Jardin, G-A-R-D-I-N. It's more of a pinky rose gold, and it's lighter than Cannes, whatever. This one doesn't have very good pigmentation. I really had to build that one up a lot when I tried to wear it. Not the best shade. The next one on top of that is, this is the one I'm really gonna mess up, Côte d'Azur. Oh, that's so sad. A Texan trying to speak another language, at least this Texan. It's sad. So anyway, that's that one right there. It's a nice kind of a taupey brown. I wouldn't say it's a chocolate brown. It has more taupe to it, and it's really, really pretty. I like that one a lot. Then this last row, this is a beautiful shade. This one is La Croisette. Yeah. It's a nice kind of warm toned champagne, almost white, and it's very pigmented. I'm wearing it on my inner corner, but I did use a matte shade over it to kind of tone it down a little bit because it's very pigmented. And I forgot to mention, I have this one right here kind of as a transition shade, but I also mixed it with a matte transition shade. But I have a little bit of that one on, but then this one on the inner corner with that matte over it. The next one is Monaco. This one's a really pretty, that bright kind of hot pink. In a minute, I'm going to compare it to Totally Fetch from the Pretty Rebel palette, as well as Bright Eyes from the, what's this called? The Be Bright set from Christmas time. I think it's going to be pretty similar, but it's a beautiful shade, very pigmented, really, really cute, fun color. And then this last one here, this is, I'm going to butcher this one too, De la Mer, D-E-L-A-M-E-R. And it's a nice kind of navy blue. It's a little bit patchy, but you can build it up. I'm wearing it on my lower lash line on the outer part, and it's a very pretty shade. I'm gonna look and see if it's similar to anything else in another palette from them, but I don't think it's going to be. It looks slightly similar to Bad A from the Pretty Rebel palette, but this one looks like it's darker and not, like the other one might have a little bit more silver to it. But I'll look and see if they're similar and let you guys know. So yeah, those are all of the swatches. A little bit hit and miss, as you can see. There's some really pretty shades, but the ones that are pretty, sometimes have some high maintenance, you know, side to them. But then they've got the fun kind of brighter colors, but then they do have some really beautiful neutrals in there as well. So there are the swatches. Okay, now to compare these hot pinks. They're the same. They have to be. If they're different, I can't tell. This top one right here, this is Monaco from the A la Mode palette. This one is Totally Fetch from the Pretty Rebel palette. And this one right here is Bright Eyes from the Be Bright set. So yeah, they look exactly the same. So if you feel like, oh, I really wanted that hot pink, you can totally get it in this palette because that's the same shade. They look identical. So pretty though. I really like that shade, and I've got a lot of it now. And then here are these blues that I wanted to compare for you to kind of see if they were similar, and they're really not. So this top one is the De la Mer from the A la Mode palette. This next one is Bad A from the Pretty Rebel palette. It seems to have some like tiny little silver shimmer to it, and then also like a slight purple flashing to it, or a duochrome, or something, some kind of dimension happening with it that makes it different. It's not super, super far off, but they're not dupes of each other in my opinion. And then this one is Party Time from the A Few of My Favorite Things palette from Christmas. Mine had horrible pigmentation, but I know some people really loved this color from their palette, so I don't know if I just got a poopy one or what happened, but they definitely don't look similar with my shades that I got in my palette, but there they are just for comparison for you guys. And then I wanted to compare Soleil with Amaretto. This is from the Chocolate Bar palette, and this is from the A la Mode. So Soleil seems to have more pinky burgundy shades, and Amaretto has more bronzy shades to it. They are similar, and I've always thought that Amaretto, like looking in the pan and then on my eyes, I've always thought that it looked like a burgundy shade, but compared to Soleil, it looks a lot more bronze. But I mean, they're pretty close, but they're not dupes. So there you can see them side by side. And then finally I wanted to compare for you Cane's or Cane's with Max Coppering. So this one is a lot lighter. Coppering has a lot more reddish tones to it, and as well as the texture is not similar at all. Coppering is very smooth, it blends really nicely, it has that same beautiful kind of metallic finish to it, but the one from the A la Mode palette is just very chunky, and it almost seems like it's got some little chunks of shimmer or something. It just, the texture of it is very difficult to work with. Beautiful shade, and it is different than Coppering, but Coppering is just so easy to work with compared to the Too Faced one. But again, they're not the same shades, so if you're looking for a dupe, it's not the same. This one is lighter, and this is more reddish toned. And then as far as the quality, application, wear time, all that of these shadows, I feel like it's not quite the same quality as some of my other Too Faced palettes. For example, my Too Faced Pretty Rebel palette is one of my very favorite palettes that I own. The packaging is just so cute, but the quality of the shadows of that palette, they're just amazing. The Chocolate Bar palette, I have so many tutorials with this palette because I love it. It is so good, and I feel like there are so many winners in those palettes that overall they're just amazing. Whereas I feel like with this palette, it's just kind of hit and miss. You know, these shades up here, difficult to build up, not much pigmentation. This one in the middle, not a lot of pigmentation. This one at the top, beautiful color, but high maintenance with all the fallout. This one down here, this blue, kind of a little bit streaky, and you sort of have to work with it to get it to work. So I feel like just the quality of them it's not all there. Now, there are certain things that I love for a palette to have, like a transition shade, a matte transition shade, a matte brow bone highlight, and a dark kind of chocolatey brown, or even a black. I can work with that too. Something to deepen up your outer corner. So I love when palettes have those things, but a transition shade isn't a make it or break it for me, because I usually, or I always have, an extra shadow that I can bring in, a single shadow that I can make it work. But I just feel like this palette is missing a darker color to deepen up your outer corner. This shade right here, this brown, I've tried to build up my outer corner with it, and it's just not dark enough. So I feel like I'm needing to bring in other shadows to kind of give the dimension that I'm looking for in my eye look. I really like a lot of different shades in my look. I like, you know, lighter into really a lot darker. So if you don't look for that, then you won't mind that, but that's something that I really look for in a palette. So I just feel like overall, now the wear time of them was fine. I noticed they seem to wear well. I wouldn't have any complaints about that. It's just kind of overall the collection of everything, and some of these shades in here, I feel like it's just not an overall win. It's kind of hit and miss. Now that being said, the packaging of this palette is just adorable. I mean, that's the #1 selling factor in my book. When I look at this palette, the presentation and the packaging is just so cute, but it's a little bit difficult to want to buy a palette based solely on the packaging. So overall, I kind of feel like this palette is just sort of hit and miss. So cute to look at, but yeah, the shadows are just kind of hit and miss. So for me, I like it. I have been enjoying it, but I don't love it. So I am debating bringing it back. Really, the only thing it would be difficult to let go of for is the presentation, is the packaging. That's the only thing that makes me go, oh, but I love to look at it. It's so cute. But if I'm gonna be putting it in a drawer, it's really not honestly worth keeping. So I'm still debating it, but I'm not finding that when I use it that I just love it. It's more kind of like I'm making it work. Okay guys, so that's my overall thoughts and opinions on the Too Faced A La Mode Eyes palette. You know, everybody's opinions are different. Some people I know really will love this palette. So I would say go check it out in store and see what you think for yourself. I mean, it is adorable to look at, and there are some fun shades in it. So I think if you're willing to work with it, you may really like it. But I just wanted to give you my overall honest opinions of what I've been noticing about it in my experience with using it. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful for you. Ask any questions down below. I'm happy to answer those. If you have this palette, let me know what your thoughts are on it. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I would love to have you, and I'll see you in the next video.